Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie Podcast. Happy Thursday morning. It's been a beautiful day here, a beautiful week, really. So excited to, hit more golf balls. Been hitting balls past few days. It's been great. So hopefully you're having a good one. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to let you know this episode is brought to you by Titleist and the Titleist Vokey SM10 wedges. So nothing can do more to sharpen your short game than a fresh set of grooves, especially if those grooves are spin milled into a brand new Vokey design SM10 wedge. Bob Vokey and his team are always grinding, and the work shows in SM10 wedges, already a favorite among the best players in the world. SM10 was designed around kind of the three keys of great wedge play: shot versatility, distance and trajectory control, and maximum spin. Top players around the world love the look and feel of Vokey wedges. You can tell the tour conversion has been extremely high, and the SM10 lineup contains a brand new T-grind, a low bounce option that encourages real artistry around the greens. So score some fresh grooves with Vokey SM10 and see how sharp your short game can be. Find your nearest Vokey fitter or use the online wedge selector tool to unlock the right SM10s for you at Vokey.com. And just to be, there it is, the little Club Junkie Vokey. So yes, got stamped with Club Junkie. It's my 50 degree. Excited. So big thanks to Vokey, or the people at Vokey who stamped those for me. They did a little Club Junkie one. They did my initials on the 56, and the 60 I stamped myself. So it's been, but it's those are really good. I got to go get fit out there at TPI. It was awesome, and I've been playing them a little bit around here as well. So really liking the SM10s. But today, yeah, it's been a week so far of really, really good weather. It's been beautiful out. It's gotten like nicer and warmer every day. Unfortunately, I think today, Thursday, is supposed to rain. I'm recording this, of course, on Wednesday night, so it was beautiful today. Had the windows in the house open and all that. It was like 66, so I cannot complain. Still going to be like 50s through the weekend, but not quite as nice as it was this week. But I didn't get out to play, unfortunately. I had a couple offers to go play early in the week, but had some work and, family, dad life stuff to get through. So wasn't something that I was able to pull off. I got basically invited, I think, twice today or Wednesday to go play, and just couldn't do it, which is unfortunate. But hey, it is what it is. There's going to be plenty of time for playing more and more as the year goes on. But yeah, I've been hitting a lot of stuff. If you haven't checked it out, golfwrx.com, our best driver list just came out. So clubhead speeds of 106 and above, 95 to 105, 94 and under, and then the most forgiving, I think, comes out today. So go check that out. We poll the best fitters in the world, really. I mean, it's across the country, but in the world as well. We got some from Canada and stuff like that. And we basically just go to all these fitters and talk to them and see what they're liking and what they're fitting their customers into at those clubhead speeds and get their thoughts. So it's a great thing. We put it together every year. It kind of gives you a little bit of direction. It is by no means to circumvent going to get fit. Because I think this year, as you see in that piece, there's a part where Mikey and I, Mikey from Club Champion, him and Ian, just Mikey and I go on and we kind of do a little talk. And a lot of the heads are so good, but they're a little different in how they can kind of maximize the performance. So getting fit is definitely high on the priority list this year, I think. But if you're getting a driver this year, man, there's so many good ones. There's not a bad one out there. It was one of those where you looked at the list and you said, yep, all these make sense. And then you looked at the list again and you're like, man, how did this not make it, or that not make it, or this or whatever. And it's just a really, really good year so if you need a driver, this is a good year to get fit, and you'll be set for a couple of years. So it's been fun hitting all those. I've been hitting a lot of them. I've hit pretty much majority. I've got a little bit here to go. I still got a couple of Cobra heads to go hit, and I did get a few swings in with a new Ping ST Max, and that thing is really solid. I mean, talk about some good ball speed. Everybody, from what I've read, a lot of people are really high on how forgiving it is. I was just hitting it on my launch monitor into my net, so I couldn't really see that much of it, but just from the numbers seeing it's supposed to be a very forgiving head. It's not crazy high speed, or I mean high spinning. It's a little higher launching. I was hitting a 9.5, and I was actually hitting it pretty high. So excited to see what that thing does out on the course. Sounds and feels pretty decent. So everything about that is pretty good. The 3-wood that matches it, I think, is really solid. I was hitting some really solid shots with that. So yeah, just a lot of really great clubs out there. A lot of good drivers. We'll get to the Cobra stuff here shortly. We'll probably do a show on that. And then I've got the PXG Tour 1 head, which, the PXG stuff has been exceptionally good this year. So, yeah, a lot of good drivers out there. So if you're checking that out, go to golf3brx.com. Check that out, and yeah, I put some work into it, so I'm kind of proud of it. I know it's people will say, oh, it's missing this or missing that, or it's not a true driver best list because it doesn't have launch monitor data or whatever. And that's fine, but I mean, launch monitor data is, my launch monitor data is different than yours, and yours is different than somebody else's. So, that kind of stuff is always tough. And then, robot testing, it's a robot. It's not necessarily how everybody swings. So, it only kind of takes into the consideration of that. So that's why we utilize these fitters, and we're very appreciative of that. And if you're one of the fitters who was on this list and you listen to this show, thank you very much for all your time and effort and talking to me and interviews and all that stuff. Thank you very much. So, anyway, today's episode, I know people hate when I ramble on, but it's just what I do. Today's episode, we are talking driver shaft. We're going to go driver shaft, and it is the brand new Fujikura Ventus Blue. So the brand new Ventus Blue, I don't know, it will focus. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to YouTube, watch it's Golf the BX Radio or Club Junkie. You'll find it there. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see this is the brand new Ventus Blue. I've got this one here, and I was basically hitting this against the original Ventus Blue. So the original Ventus Blue is the darker blue version, gloss blue, darker, came out in 2019. Kind of amazing it's been around that long. It doesn't feel like that, but hitting it against the original and seeing, which one, if there is any differences, because Fuji's, basically came out and said the new 2024 model, again, with this one has, new VeloCore Plus in the tip section, but it is, I don't know if it'll focus on something this small. But anyway, VeloCore Plus in the tip section, matte blue finish, but they say the profile, performance, all that should be very, very similar to the original blue. So the original blue came out 2019, introduced VeloCore technology. It was the first of all the Ventus shafts. And then, everybody kind of knows what happened there. It kind of went nuts, and everybody, there's so many Ventuses in play. Blue, there's still a ton of them in play for on tour and a lot of regular bags, all that. But the original one was really nice. So dark blue gloss finish on the 2019 model. This model will eventually go away. So the new one, the 2024, will replace this model. So I know people are always asking, like, what's a couple year older shaft that's so good, or really good, or a good value. If people have any of these laying around and they go to like a clearance type thing in a year or two, this will be a great one to pick up at a cheap price, if you even can. I don't know if people will be buying backups of these or what, but this is, the Curtis Ventus line is just a cult classic. And, when I was talking to the guys at Fuji, when this first came out, it was like, well, where do you go? And they were like, yeah, that's a really tough question to solve. And they're like, we're not going to take it lightly, because when you have something as good as the 2019 model was, with as much tour play, as much amateur play, how many people found success with it? You definitely don't want to just rush something out that isn't as good, or is inferior or whatever. That's going to cause you to kind of lose that momentum, and they didn't. After the blue came out, shortly after it, red and black came out. So blue is the mid-launch low spin. Then they come out with red, which is kind of the mid-high launch mid spin, and then the black low launch low spin. And then eventually, a little bit later, the TR models came out, and the TRs are different shafts. I call them the in-betweeners, where blue is kind of mid-launch, low spin. I think TR blue is mid-low launch, low spin. And they have kind of a spread toe fabric in the handle section, or up near the handle section, that reinforces those shafts. So they are different. Those are staying in the line. The TR stuff is not changing right now. I would assume that if Fuji kind of does what they did with the original Ventus, maybe we'll see updated TRs in a year or two. Maybe. I don't know. I'm literally speculating. The guys at Fuji have not given me any of those answers or those tidbits. Even though I ask all the time. You can ask those guys. I bug them all the time about letting me know about everything new. But the 2019 Ventus Blue will be going away. It's still available right now. You can still get them. Like if you go into a fitting and you get fit into them, you're still going to be able to get it. But now the new one is out, and it is there. And basically the big story is VeloCore Plus. So VeloCore Plus, which you'll see, the little label and tip section, is basically an updated. So VeloCore was basically a full-length bias core. So it was carbon sheets that were used on the very core of the shaft to add stability. And it did it very well. As anybody who'd hit a Ventus knows, if you've hit any of the 6 of them, you'll know they all very stable shafts while still producing, the launch and spin that they were designed for. VeloCore Plus, they're basically adding a little bit different material to the mix, and then also changing up a little bit of the material in there as well. So basically, a little bit of a redesign, a little bit of update on the core, but they're keeping the profile the same. So this is still going to be mid-launch, low spin. It's still going to have the same profile where it's got a little softer handle section, a little stiffer mid-section, and then a very, very stiff tip section. That's how the blue was, the 2019 blue. This one's staying with the exact same profile. Basically, your big difference is you should see some added stability. Fuji's saying that some players are seeing just a little bit more ball speed while tightening up dispersion. But the launch and spin should be very, very similar. It wasn't designed to launch any higher, lower, spin less, more, anything like that. Just basically update a classic shaft with a little bit newer technology and make it just a little bit better. So if you're somebody who got fit into a Ventus Blue, do you need to run out and buy a 2024 Ventus Blue? You don't need to. You probably don't need to. I don't know if the changes will be that significant if you're finding a lot of success in there, but if you definitely want to, you can go hit them side by side and see what happens. That's what I did today, and I've been playing the Ventus this 2024 Blue a little bit on course for the rounds I have played. So I've been getting some good use out of this, and I was excited when they announced that this was coming. I was really excited. I was really excited when the Ventus Blue came out in 2019. It's shocking that it's been now 5 years, that shaft was released and it's still going strong. So, again, do you need to run out and buy a brand new 2024 if you're playing the 19 version and hitting it well, you got fit into it? No, I don't think so. But if you are going into a fitting, the matte blue one, if they hand you a Ventus Blue and it looks a little different because it's a little lighter shade, little matte finish, the Ventus kind of like logo wrap on the top's got a little different texture to it. That is okay. It is just the brand new model. So it'll have the little VeloCore Plus logo on the tip. The Ventus in the middle will be hollow. It'll just be kind of an outline of the word Ventus. And the color's a little different. But out of the course, I really liked it. I've hit it well. I was basically playing it a lot in the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond head, and I was really impressed with it. The initial thought of it is that I like the look. If you really put my feet to the coals, I'm maybe preference the old one just a little bit. Something about gloss and a little bit of metallic in there. I just kind of like. I mean, maybe it's the I wish I had a bass boat, and I like that little bit of metal flake. But I like that in the old one. But the new one looks really good. It's easily distinguished as a blue. We'll assume that at some point, there will be a red and a black that I'm assuming will probably match this in some way, that you'll see a matte red and a matte black or something like that. But we have no real details on that yet. And again, the boys at Fuji are staying pretty tight-lipped. So, but yeah, this is the like I said, the brand new one there. And going down the course, I think, in terms of feel, it is similar. The two, when you hit them side by side, there is a very similar feel to both of them. I do feel like the new one is just a touch tighter, in terms of if you really kind of go after it, you really kind of swing hard, or you get caught with yourself swinging harder on a shot that you shouldn't have. I feel like there's a little bit more control with the new one. In terms of flex, it feels very similar. Maybe a hair stiffer if you're hitting them side by side, like swapping them out of the same head and all that. Maybe it feels just a touch firmer, but that would be really kind of stretching it. That's really kind of like, looking for something to compare it to. Overall, I think the feel is really similar. You can really kind of feel the shaft kind of flex higher up under the handle, and then at impact, again, this thing kind of feels a little bit more stable. And I seem to, for me, hit it a little less left out on the course than I did with the original blue. For me, I've been playing, like last year, if you've listened to the show at all, I was playing the TR Blue in my TSR2 head, and I played TR Blue, and that was kind of my gamer setup. And that slightly reinforced handle on that shaft, I thought, offered me a little bit more control. This I feel like is, it offers maybe just a little bit, less left to it. I think it is just a little bit more stable on those miss hits, and it's not much different. I mean, it's not much different. It is in, I think, a slightly good way, but the feel is still very, very smooth. It loads easily. You can feel it kick at impact. It's got good responsiveness. It's not, dead in any way or anything like that. You're not going to lose that feel. Like if you hit it off the heel, hit it off the toe, it's not that you're not going to feel it or know. That is definitely going to be translated to the hands. But it's smooth, it's tight, and it feels very similar to the current Ventus Blue out there. I mean, there's not a monster difference between the two, which again, I know people are going to ask, is it worth it to upgrade? Depends on the person, depends on what your wallet wants to say about that, and depends on how you hit it. But if you're hitting the 19 really well and got fit and all that, I'd say keep it. If you're looking for something new and going for a fitting this year, I think the 24 Ventus Blue is definitely worth trying out. But really stable. I feel like, I miss, most of my misses are kind of high toe, and I felt like, hitting that, the miss was kind of similar. As the original 19 Blue, you'd still see, some draw to it. I do feel like I hit less of those kind of hard hooks with this shaft than I did with the original Blue. They still had a little curve onto them when I hit it off the toe, but it was just I saw fewer of them. It seemed like heel shots seemed to be actually really solid. When I miss it off the heel, because I can miss it anywhere on the face, when I miss it off the heel, these things definitely feels extremely stable. Sometimes when you heel a shot with a driver, it almost feels like the shaft is just gonna like kind of not necessarily break, but it just feels like the shaft is doing something weird and impact. It almost feels like there's just a really harsh kind of bending of the shaft. This didn't have that. I felt like the heel shots felt a little better and actually went pretty straight. They were pretty solid. They didn't spin up super high and just kind of fall out of the sky. They kind of stayed there pretty well. Like I said, I was hitting this in the triple diamond AI Smoke triple diamond head, and that head is really good at keeping spin consistent as well. I think the shaft definitely helps with some of that also, but it definitely felt a little more stable. So then I decided, after playing it out there, let's go hit them side by side and see what they do. So I went out there today, and it was a beautiful day, and took both shafts, and both of them are 6Xs. So when you look at the spec, actually before you look at the specs of the two, they have the same profile as I said. If you go on Fuji's site, firm handle, stiff midsection, ultra stiff tip section. When you look at the actual like tech specs of it, where you look at what the torque and all that stuff is, they are very, very similar. The torque on both is 3.1. The butt diameter is just like what, a thousandth of an inch bigger. It's like 0.606 to 0.605 for a 6X, comparing those two. But torque on both is 3.1 between the old one and the new. The butt flex, their number is still 80 on that, and it's on both of them. The only difference really that you see is the X in the new 2024 Blue. On average, it will weigh about a gram heavier at 66 grams as opposed to 65. And then the tip flex moves up from a value of 88 to a value of 90. So the tip seems to be maybe just a hair stiffer than the old one. So, I mean, again, those numbers there too, I mean, are kind of just Fuji's measurements, but you look at it, maybe 1 gram heavier, same torque numbers, all that. I mean, it's pretty much a very similar shaft in terms of even the numbers that it produces. So, and yeah, when we talked to the guys at Fuji down at the PGA show when they were launching this, they basically said it's going to perform really similar. They haven't noticed a ton other than maybe a little bit of ball speed and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, well, let's go out and hit them side by side. And again, hitting them side by side, as I said, I feel like the new one is just a touch tighter, and I felt like I was just a touch more accurate with it in terms of dispersion. It probably, from the bird's eye view, was a little bit tighter than the original one. Nothing crazy. I mean, I hit both fairly decent, out there on the launch monitor. So I was using my full swing kit with Titleist Pro V1X RCT balls. So built for radar, launch monitors, and was hitting basically the exact same ball. And I was using a TaylorMade QI10 10.5 degree head. So same head, swapped them both, between the two shafts. Again, I use all fit, so I can kind of swap everything there, and just kind of brought both shafts out. Both play at 45 inches. Neither one is tipped. They're about as close as I can get to a controlled, controlled experiment as I can. Unfortunately, the variable is me, which is the downside. But yeah, basically went through and hit about 20 shots with each one. By the time I was done, I was kind of tired. I hit I hit about 20. I think I hit like 8 at first with the new one, and then I hit 10 or 12 because I kind of got into a little bit of a groove with the old one, and then went back, and so I hit about 20 shots with each. And the number wise, it was definitely close. I mean, I was kind of impressed with how similar. Kind of the biggest difference out of the whole thing that I saw was basically launch. And I know that they say the launch isn't every different, and I think if you kind of go through and look, the variation and whatever was really, really tight with the 19. I had a couple that I hit a little bit higher off the face on the with the new one that I don't want to say skewed it, but I'm not going to just go through and delete everything to try to make them all perfect. The shots are the shots. The shots are what they are. You guys know I'm a bad 9 to 10 handicap, so this is what it is. I'm going to hit some shots a little bit all over the face, but hit both of them side by side. As I said, QI 10 standard head, 10.5 in standard setting and all fit for both of them. Again, neither one tip, both cut to be play 45. So they play a hair over that with the grip. But, installed them in standard, all that, and then, whacked away. So, the biggest difference in this whole thing, I think, was launch, and it was 11.5 for the 2019, 12.9 for the 2024. So about a degree difference in terms of launch. And again, I don't think when you look at like the really good shots, I think that number's even tighter than that. I think it was under a degree if you just nitpicked and pulled out, just the best shots or whatever. But between the two, a degree higher launch on the new one. Spin, this was the one that because I looked back and I felt like the 2024 was spinning more. When I hit shots, and I always just like, it's built in where you just look back at the monitor and the kit has a little screen on it. So instead of looking at the iPad, I just turn around, and I felt like the spin numbers were higher on the new one. But at the end of the day, they were 13 RPM difference. So 2313 for the 2019 was 3213 was my average for the 2020 or the 2019 model, and the 2024 model was 3200. And again, I was shocked. I was like, I could have sworn the 2024 was going to spin a little bit more. I felt like I saw some on there, but when I went back and kind of scrolled through, there were a few heel shots that spun up that were in the mid to high threes, and then there were a few that I hit high in the face that were 22s and all that. So the lowest spinning shot I hit the whole time was with the old one. There was one in there that was like 1998 or something like that. So that was the lowest spinning shot I hit of the day. And it was actually with the old one. But on average, they pretty much were identical in terms of spin. I was really, like I said, really shocked that they were that close. I figured they would be close. I thought maybe 100 RPM, something like that. Literally 13 RPM after 20 shots of each, so 40 total shots. And the new one is just 13 RPM less. So and then ball speed wise, again, not a huge difference. I averaged 145.1 with the 2019. And then 146.6 with the new one. So about 1.5 miles an hour faster with the new one in terms of ball speed. Now I did, when you get down to it, I did swing it about almost a mile an hour faster on average. So that does kind of play into it as well. But it was a hair faster in terms of ball speed. And then the interesting thing is, I think with that launch, the carry number was 4 yards. 237 was my average for the 2019 model, 241 for the 2024. So a little farther, and I think that equates to that 1 degree of launch, hitting a few higher shots. I don't hit a super high ball, so for me, getting that little extra height, I always see more distance out of those, those shots. And it seems that happens every time. The club that I hit a little bit higher is the one that typically goes a little bit further. So when I do these, it's just been the way it is. Smash factor on both, 147 on the 2019, 148 on the 2024. So again, to kind of go with that ball speed a little bit, I think they're pretty similar. But then, yeah, club head speed, 98.5 was my average, and then 99.3. And I know everybody's going to be like, why do you play a 6X? You shouldn't. And the only reason I do really is to kind of help me from hitting it left, because my path is a little into out, and I tend to hit it off the toe a little bit, and I tend to hit some decently bad snap hooks. And then the other thing is I'll come down and smother it if I kind of get that a little over the top action. So I play the X just to kind of prevent a little bit of that draw, but because I don't necessarily need it. But there were some swings in there that on both those that were in the 102 area. So I'm not totally under the 100 all the time, but that was just an average there. And by the end, I was definitely slowing down. I mean, stuff was at 97, 90, 97, 96s even, as I kind of got a little worn out from hitting a bunch of balls, because I hit wedges before that. I hit some 7-irons. I had a bunch of stuff. So by the time there, I was getting a little bit gassed. But from those numbers there, I mean, looking at that, even if you took everything there as what it is, I mean, it is 4 yards longer than the new one for me, but spin number exactly the same, launch within, basically a 1 degree, and I noticed, a 1.5 miles an hour in terms of ball speed. So, there definitely is some improvements there. I think Fuji did a really good job with keeping the DNA of Ventus Blue what it is, while maybe making those little bit of improvements there. And then on course, I definitely noticed that the new one is, a little bit more consistent for me. It takes away just a little bit more left, and I'm not knocking the original Blue. I think it's a great shaft. There's the new one, I think, plays just a hair better for me. If there was a fitting between these two, it would be really close, but the new one would win. So, again, when you look at how razor sharp kind of that stuff is it worth it for you to just, throw your 2019 away and go run out and buy a 2024? I don't think it is, but I think if you're someone who's being fit into a new driver, you're going to be looking for something new. The 2024 is a really, really solid option if you're looking for, something mid-launch, low spin, very consistent, good smooth feel to it. And it'll be interesting to see out on tour, like, how many, 2024s we start seeing out there, but very, very similar performance to the old one, and kind of where Fuji kind of said there might be a little, addition. It seems like there is a little bit of that. Again, club head speed is a mile an hour difference, so I mean you can kind of play that into it and say, well, they're the same ball speed, but these are average over 20 shots each. So I think that's it's not necessarily just a one shot to one shot comparison. But really, really solid. I was impressed. I think the 2024 is a great shaft. If you ask me like which one would you play, you have them both. I'm probably going to play the 2024. I mean, as you can see on the wall back there, it's up there. I did a little, Instagram post or a story post where it was like Sarah McLachlan as I took this thing off the wall. I'm not getting rid of it. It's still going to be here. It's still got a tip on it. I don't know how long it'll have the tip on it for it. As new stuff comes out, it may lose its tip now that the new one's out. But, the new one is on the wall, and it'll definitely be, in the rotation quite a bit. I've got Fuji was nice enough also to send me a 70-gram version, so it'll be pretty interesting to put this in a 3-wood and see how that plays. I'm pretty excited to see it. I just haven't decided what 3-wood gets the blessing of that shaft, but it'll go into a 3-wood, and we'll have a little mid-launch 3-wood shaft as well. So that'll just happen. It's just going to take a little more kind of testing and narrowing down, because with 3-woods, the all fit system, they do have for interchangeables. They do have all fit does work with fairways, but a lot of times you're either putting it in like either a bonded hosel, or you're putting it into a tip that's specifically for one brand. So I don't want to have to like yank it, put in another one, whatever. So we'll see. We're gonna go test it out in a 3-wood, figure out what 3-wood I like, and then toss it in there. So it'll be nice. I'm excited to do that. But those are the brand new Ventus, the 2024 Ventus, and the 2019. Kind of comparing the two, but I'm really stoked about the new one. I think it's definitely. I'm happy that Fuji didn't break something that wasn't broke. They kept it really simple. A lot of people could say maybe they took it too conservative. I think that's fine. I think it's you're making the slight evolution instead of just blowing it up and trying to start from scratch. So the players who like Ventus Blue, I think, are really going to like the 2024 model. But I know I do. I prefer it over it. It goes on the wall. It becomes part of the rotation there. So the old one, unfortunately, probably won't see too much action from here on out. But but yeah, so that is it. If you go to FujikuraGolf.com, you can check out kind of all the specs, all that of the brand new one, of the old ones. I mean, all their shafts. They do a good job of giving you a lot of info on their shafts. I like that a lot. But go there, you can check out kind of everything, and then also find your dealer who can fit you, demo it, whatever, build one up for you, all that. They can kind of go through, and they've got a quick search thing that you can find who's close to you that has access to the new one. And the new 2024 right now, it's made in basically a 50 gram, so a Ventus 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9. They're doing 9 in this one. So a 9. It's only made in X-Flex, but they're doing a 9 in it. I know they did a 9 in the last one, and they did X and TX. This one, they're just doing X. But 94 grams, if you're looking for a big boy 7-wood or something like that, they've got it. I kind of want the 8 stiff. I was playing the TR Blue in the 8 stiffs in my 7-woods. I kind of want 8 stiff in this one. We'll see. I think I'm going to stick with the TRs. But no, the new one there, like I said, 50 gram, 60 gram, 70 gram, 80 gram, 90 grams. So a lot of options. Basically from R2 to X in the 5. So R2 is a step under regular flex, so regular stiff X. And then the 6X or the 6 you can get in regular stiff X. 7 and 8 is just stiff and X, and the 9 is just X, because I don't think anybody should be playing a 9 reg or anything like that. I just don't see there's a need for it. But a lot of options. Glad they kept a bunch of weight and flex options for this thing. So we'll be seeing a lot of it. So again, check out FujikuraGolf.com. That's what I'm gonna end it with today. So again, if you're not following me on Instagram, please do, @ClubJunkiePod. If you're checking this out on YouTube, please like, subscribe, whatever. That'd be awesome. And then also, wherever you're listening to this, whatever platform for podcasts you're listening to it, please like, subscribe, whatever. It helps the algorithm, helps me look better than I am, and maybe it'll have a few more people listen. So I appreciate it. But that's all I've got. Again, before we go, thank you to Titleist. Remember, this is brought to you by the new SM10, Vokey SM10 wedges. Check out the new T-grind. There's a couple M-grind options. 3 great finishes. The new nickel finish is absolutely great. It's like this gray color. It's awesome. But tons of sole options. Go to Titleist.com or Vokey.com. Check out where you can go get fit. Go get fit for them. They're really, really solid wedges. So that's all I've got today. Let's have a good weekend. Play some golf if you can, and we'll talk next week.